welcome back to the channel. Today's project is going to be a two-piece vise that I'm going to design from the C-beam. It's broken into three major components with several subcomponents, and then I'm also using some 4-inch Mitee Bite fixture jaws that have it's all set up for their talon grips, and this will allow you to grip 2 millimeters of material so you don't have as much material waste, and it allows you to do most of your operations on one side, and then you flip it over and then you just deck off that 2 millimeters and you have a completed part and do whatever other operations you need to do. So in today's video we're gonna go over the construction of this. You get to see some oopsies. I don't like to hide screw ups because it's how you learn. Get to break a nice $20 end mill today. And there's a few things that do get skipped out, and that's mostly because batteries were dead, and I only got a couple batteries, and they only take about 30 minutes of video before they die, and I was just trying to get the project done. So there's a few spots where you won't really see much, but I'll go over it pretty in depth once I get the full thing assembled and show you everything. So tag along and watch a two-piece vise video. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. And thank you for watching. So while making this portion, this is the first part I made, and this was the fixed jaw side. I'd accidentally used the wrong stock, and actually used the piece I was meaning to use for the moving jaw clamping portion. So that's why there's so much material waste. I ended up having to use a different piece of scrap I had to make the moving jaw portion that you'll see later. It was kind of unfortunate, but that's how things go sometimes.
I just wanted to take a second and show you the size of chips you can pull off with this thing with that 3 fluid insert cutter. These are pretty respectable chips as far as this machine goes. Usually they're a lot smaller, but this turned out good. It's got a good surface finish on it, and yeah, this was actually a pretty quick part. I'm about to go set up the third part to get machined, and I'll get right back with you on that.
So I didn't know this at the time, but me putting the facing operation first actually caused the end mill to break later, and you'll see that in a moment. So since I didn't have any more aluminum shredders from Lakeshore Carbide in stock at the time, I ended up using this Carbide 4-flute rougher. And I did have some issues because on such a high-speed spindle, it's without flood cooling, it's generally not a good idea to use a 4-flute spindle or a end mill with a aluminum, as it will gull up the flutes really easily, and I had that happen several times. So I would not recommend using a 4-flute for aluminum. Use ones that are specifically made for cutting aluminum, and if all else fails, a 2-flute or a 1-flute will work sufficiently well. Lesson learned, I guess, but I used what I had. I should have used the 2-flute I had, but I wasn't thinking.
two-piece vise. I have the jaws on my Saunders Machine Works vise because it's a lower profile one, but this is used more for, here I'll just grab those vices. So these Saunders vices are really good for when you're doing initial work holding. So what these are good for is when you got your raw stock, you can clamp it between the two pieces and do a lot of work before you have to flip it around to deck it. So these ones are fun. I can use those inserts on there, but I can also just use these jaws as like traditional jaws like you would on a regular vise. So I can hold something here to finish the second operation deck off, or to hold it in other ways that are strange. Because as you can see with the Saunders ones, there's only 4 holes for 4 different inserts, whereas this one's got, I believe it's 9. So you have a lot more options for work holding. And I'm not 100% sure if the round inserts will be compatible with the Saunders one, but I know they are with this because, well, Mitee Bite's advertised as dwarf on them. To complete it, I had to, as you can see, make some holes in my jaws so that the right bolt pattern would work. This is actually a 6-inch jaw pattern, but I did these so I could actually put them on my 3-inch vise as well. Had a little oopsie here, but you saw that earlier. This piece is good. Here's the moving jaw. It's pretty good. And then the 1/2-inch bolt here, that's going to be for the actual pressing it out to give you a good lock. And then that was actually a pain in the ass to because, well, I couldn't mill it. I had to take it out on my drill press because I didn't have enough Z height. But that's about it for this project. Thanks for watching. Next week I'm going to be working on a new project. I'm not quite sure what that project is yet, but it's probably going to be something a little smaller and less ambitious. I need to build a mount for my wife's weather station that broke off from a tree limb, so I'll probably just make that for her so she stops nagging me about it. Alright, so thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't, and make a shout out to Lakeshore Carbide for making amazing end mills. Unfortunately, I broke my aluminum shredder, as you saw, so a few of the operations I had to do with a non-ideal mill. It had some issues. I have a few more on order, so I decided to buy a couple extras just so I have them on hand. But if you like what you're seeing, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment, and probably the video after the next one I'm going to do the giveaway project. So please stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.